My name's Doris Johnson, and I'm a licensed acupuncturist. I live in Los Angeles, but I work here at Wongu University. I am a clinical supervisor as well as an instructor here at Wongu. And I have to add that I really love working here in Las Vegas. In Los Angeles, I also teach at a school called Dongguk University, and there currently I'm an instructor at Dongguk University. In addition to that, I have a private practice that is in Los Angeles, and I'm at my private practice 3 days a week. So I'm there 3 days a week. I'm at Dongguk 1.5 days a week, and currently I'm here in Las Vegas at Wongu 2 days every other week. Today, as a clinical supervisor, we have a patient, and she is used to looking good, and as she is getting older, she feels she doesn't look so good anymore. She doesn't look, like she did in her youth. And so we were doing facial rejuvenation using acupuncture and some herbal medicine as well.
I'm a true believer in acupuncture. I had a stroke, and I went and had acupuncture in California. I had Bell palsy on this side of my face, and you really can't tell. But they took care of it for me, and when I found Wongu, I got excited, and I've asked them if they do facial rejuvenation or some sort. So today I was a guinea pig, and I'm all excited, and I'd like to go forth with it and see what the results are going to be in 3 months or so. I'm from California. I was a fashion designer since 1960. I did a lot of TV shows, Bracken's World, and I worked for House of Nine, and I did all custom work for all the department stores under private labels. And then I had children, changed my life. And then I went into the doll business as a doll restorer. And my claim to fame, I did lots of movies, TV commercials. I did the movie Hook. And I went into wedding cake tops. I did Mick Mars, Motley Crue, Sammy Davis and his wife. I did work for Aaron Spelling. I did restoring of $15,000, $25,000 dolls, Automon, the automatic dolls that used to dance and all that. Candy Spelling had a big collection. I was a high-end doll maker and one the only doll restorers in the country. On the West Coast, I was the only one. That's why I worked for Mattel. I did a lot of their repairs because they weren't capable of doing it. And American Doll Company, I did theirs because a lot of girls didn't want a new doll. They wanted their old doll back. I worked for FAO Schwartz and did their repairs. I've been around a long time till I moved to Las Vegas and gave it up. Even though my phone, I still have the phone and it still rings 6-7 times a day.
In this process, one of the first steps we did not film today. So usually we have to make sure that the face is clean. And so we will have the patient use like a facial scrub. And this facial scrub will have herbs in there as well. And then we will astringe the face by using an herbal wash. It will often include, depending on the patient's skin type, we'll use an herb called jingjie, also known as schizonepita in the pharmaceutical name. And it has a very pleasing smell, but it's also used for tightening the skin a little bit, and it also helps to remove blemishes. So those 2 steps were not shown today. In my practice in Los Angeles, I will use those 2 steps. But here in a clinical setting, we omitted those steps today. Time is of the essence, usually here in the clinic setting. So once that happens, then the third step is to insert the needles. And as with any acupuncture treatment in my book, the treatment has to be holistic. We do a differential diagnosis. We do tongue and pulse diagnosis. We ask the questions of the patient, and then we treat the body. But in addition to treating the body, then we will add the facial points to help in that lifting process. Often when it comes to facial rejuvenation, we are going to really focus on the spleen, since in traditional Chinese medicine, the spleen is responsible for lifting and holding into place not just skin, but organ systems and, like urinary bladder. And, so wherever there's any kind of prolapse, then we tonify, we strengthen the spleen's capability of holding things in place. So spleen is very important to use in these treatments. And so then we put the needles in, and then the patient rests for about 20 to 30 minutes. While the patient's resting, we prepare the egg white mask that will then be placed over the face. And so the needles come out, and then we put a nice thin layer of the egg white mask. Often the egg white mask will also contain other herbs like pearl powder, which is said to be used for rejuvenating the skin and providing much beauty. And so we'll often add that, and sometimes we'll even add other herbs like American ginseng or a little avocado and mix that up. And then we will also add some kind of essential oil. In this case today we used lavender oil. Just one drop is all we needed. Just really such a beautiful, exuberant and calming smell. The oil, I often like to use wheat germ oil capsule. Wheat germ oil is important as a food, and in this case as an herb. It helps to balance women's hormones. So those lines that appear in the face, if we can balance estrogen, progesterone, along with the egg mask, which will provide the collagen for any little lines and cracks, then it adds to the whole thing. So we put that on, and then we take that off with a warm, damp cloth, and then we do a facial massage with, I call it a steam roller, but we use a roller made of jade that's specific for using on the face. And then we were talking about how often a person should get treated, and especially if they want to avoid actual surgery and things like that. So I like to do once a week for anywhere from 6 to 10 weeks, and then we begin to taper down from there. Doing this treatment once a week for several weeks shows a dramatic difference. I've had patients come back to me and say, now I didn't tell anybody I was getting this, but people are always asking me, what are you doing? You're looking younger, your skin is so smooth and so vibrant and so plump and so beautiful. And so I know that it works. I probably need to do it on myself. But that's my moment of vanity. I'll let that go.